This is my walk-up music. You're in the midst of my walk-up music. We're getting into the baseball season. You have to have walk-up music. By the way, my wife and I went and saw Casey and the Sunshine Band at Treasure Island Casino like 2 weeks ago. And we were probably middle-aged with that group, you know, and Casey is 71 years old and been doing this for 50 years. Voice isn't quite the same, but it was a lot of energy. It was a lot of fun. So why do I do this? This is kind of my family. I have a lake house up in the Brainerd area, so love to spend time up there. I have 2 fur babies, of course. My wife and I, we like to do adventures, whether it's out in Sedona or Alaska or the Vikings, or here we did a Christmas in Mankato. I think this one was in Mankato. So what's my journey been to get to Focal Point? I have an engineering degree from Purdue, spent my first 11 years with a chemical company. I'm a chemical engineer, it kind of makes sense. Spent a little time at GE, Integris, which was down in Chaska. That's where I worked for 13 years. When I was in Eden Prairie, they sent me to University of Minnesota to get my MBA. And then when I left Integris, I started working with a lot of small businesses, from $2 million for Safeway Hydraulics to $60 million for Lou Rich as general manager, president type of roles. And then I made a pivot last year, decided, you know, I really like working with the small businesses, but I'd like to do more of it. What do I like most about doing it? First is I love developing people. I love teaching others what I know, sharing that information, and then watching them go use it and be successful with it. And then just helping small businesses to get better. This is a nice quote. Focal Point was actually based off the works of a guy by the name of Brian Tracy, who's a world-renowned speaker, author, business coach. It's been around for 20 years. But you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you've been, but it's about where you're going for the future. So why Focal Point? As I mentioned, Brian Tracy's kind of the legacy. He's the one that started the business and a lot of his experience. And then my core values really fit in well with what the company core values are. As a business coach, one of the things that I work on with the business leaders, executives, is understanding what's important to you. What are your values? And it's been kind of funny. Sometimes people are like, I don't know what to put. I don't know what to put down. And what I tell them is think about a time where something happened in your life and you had to make a decision, and it was a hard decision to go with what you think is right versus maybe what people might think you should do. And that's really what I've done. And you know, integrity is one of them. I had a business many, many years ago where my boss, the CEO, did something illegal. And I had a choice, you know, do I say something about it or do I just put my head down? Well, I decided to say something about it, and 4 months later, I was gone. But that's when you find out what really drives your values. As a business coach, I can work with my clients to really meet their needs, but at the end of the day, I have this kind of group of content that I can work from, and we call it the stack. And we're really starting at the bottom. It's really gaining clarity. What's important to you? What's important to your business? Who are your customers? Who the market? You know, and you got to build from there. You got to understand what's clear within your business. Then it's about increasing your effectiveness, finding more time, how to be able to allocate others to be able to do stuff, give them the empowerment to be able to do stuff on your behalf. Figuring out ways to grow your business, so marketing plans and things like that. Understanding who your customers are, how do you reach them? Become a superstar salesperson. You know, really, what is your sales process that you go through in order to find those new customers? And then lastly, it's about leadership and becoming the leader of your business. And that aligns with the clarity as well. So how do I coach? First is really one-on-one. That's working with a business leader and executive, either weekly, bi-weekly. I can go through the whole stack. We can customize it to meet your needs. You know, I can really do whatever I want and whatever we think is going to be best for you. Group coaching, you will actually see a sheet on the tables about the session I'm putting together, but it's working with several people that maybe not be able to, afford to spend time with me, either from a dollar perspective or a time perspective, one-on-one, but we can get several people together and go through some material fairly quickly. And then other services, that's working on assessments, DISC and EQ, that's emotional quotient, doing workshops, helping businesses to prepare for a sale in the future. These are all things that I can be involved in. And who do we coach? Every business kind of goes through a cycle like this. And so it's working with that business owner and trying to figure out where they are in the life cycle of their business. Here's really going to be the start, and then over a period of time they get here, and then at some point in time there's an inflection point, and things aren't going as well. And so what I want to try and do is help that business owner to not have this downward inflection point. Let's figure out how we keep that going forward. And you have to kind of reinvent yourself, fairly often to keep that moving forward. So who's my ideal client? A small business owner, someone that's looking to grow or scale, improve their business, typically less than 50 million in revenue, someone that's facing them, some new challenges, or they want to avoid that denial stage, on the business curve. They want to keep going. I've spent my whole career in manufacturing, so my personal interest is on the manufacturing side. But the tools I have, the knowledge I have, I can apply to everybody. I have a client right now that has a bookkeeping business. And so we walk through the same things, with her as well. So what's the value I bring? As I shared at the beginning, I've been for the last 10 or 15 years working in small businesses. So not all of it has been easy in those small businesses where I've been involved in turnarounds and, I've had things that have gone wrong. So I can walk with a small business owner side by side. I've probably experienced most of the challenges that they have, in addition to having these tools available. I also believe that the work that we do in our businesses has a ripple effect. So, don't think of your business just about P&L, but think about it, geez, I employ 10 other people. Those 10 people they spend their money at the grocery store or Home Depot or Fat Pants, buying beers, so they're spreading their money around. So what you do as a business owner isn't just about the business, it's also about the people and the ripple effect that you get from there. So who might hear, what you might hear from someone that could be a potential client for me? Geez, I've been growing for the last 5 years and all of a sudden I've hit a glass ceiling. I don't know what to do. I spend 60 hours a week. I spend 80 hours a week working on the business. It's all consuming. I haven't had dinner with my family in 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years. I'm missing my kids' activities at night. I'm not as profitable as I used to be. Cash flow is tight. Everybody comes to me for answers. My managers really don't know what to do. I started this vision 10 years ago. I had a vision, and I really don't spend any time on it. I've always got my head down. I'm always solving problems. I'm not really focusing on the business going forward. So if you hear someone talking like that, say, hey, I know this guy, and he likes Casey and the Sunshine Band, but other than that, he's a great business coach. You need to talk to him. Questions?
Any questions?